Yeah, it's just about 9 o'clock. You are listening to KOPN Columbia, 89.5 FM. My name is Mike Hagan, and this is Open Mic Radio. Welcome to the show. Let's get it going. Start your Friday off right. This is one from Oversight Committee. Back in a few minutes. Welcome to the program. It's Open Mic Radio, Friday, June 26, 2020. Coming to you live from the Dalton Building in lovely downtown Columbia, Missouri. Sure glad to be back in the studio and on the air live again. Every week here on Open Mic Radio, we feature interviews with Missouri's finest musicians and bands, and we hear a bunch of their songs. My name is Mike Hagan. It's good to be here with you. Glad you're here with me. And whether you're listening over the traditional airwaves or worldwide over the internet, hello to everyone out there. Welcome to the show. Hope you're all doing well and enjoying your Friday here, okay? All right, lovely summer morning, as a matter of fact, today in mid-Missouri. Maybe a little rain over the weekend, but either way, hope you enjoy it. And make this weekend a good one, okay? All right, I got a great show lined up for you this morning. Also, a little live music happening again this weekend, so that's fantastic. Before we get too busy, though, let's say thanks to Mr. Mike Nolan from the Blue Note and Rose Music Hall. Mike was on the air with me for a little while last week. We talked about some of the new stuff happening down there at Rose Music Hall. And, of course, we had the Daves on with us after that. who had a wonderful performance last Saturday night at Rose Music Hall out there in Rose Park. And that was the first time, actually Friday night, happy hour around 5 o'clock last Friday. The band called, was it Flyover Country? Yeah, Flyover Country performed for a couple hours Friday evening. That was the first live music we've had here in Columbia, Missouri for quite some time. And it was great to have it back. And then on Saturday night, they followed that up with the Daves live from Rose Park there at Rose Music Hall. And anyway, we had Mike Nolan on with us last week and the Daves, and we spent a little time with them and played some music and had a real fun time along with some cool songs. That was a great weekend last weekend, and I'm so happy that there's music happening again around here. Hopefully that will be able to continue. We'll have to see and just take it 1 week at a time, right? Okay, let's play another one here from my guests this morning, who will be Ruth Acuff and Jeff Mueller. I had the chance actually to catch up with Ruth and Jeff about a week ago, and I recorded a nice little conversation that we had. I'll play that for you in just a few minutes, but let's hear another piece of music from Ruth and Jeff. Now, the first one we heard to start the show off, that was Jeff's project called Oversight Committee, and that's Jeff Mueller and Brian Kent and Travis Huff. Who else? I'm missing a few. Pat O'Driscoll. There are a couple other guys involved in that project. I should have wrote it down, but anyway, Jason Caton. Anyway, that one's called Toots DeVille, Oversight Committee. Great stuff from Jeff and the gang. And we're going to hear one now from Ruth Acuff with Jeff Mueller on bass. It is called New York, New York, appropriately. Our conversation sort of starts there in a few minutes. Jeff and Ruth are longtime Mid-Missouri residents and citizens and community members. They left about a year and a half ago, though, maybe 2 years, about a year and a half ago, I guess, and went to New York City for some opportunity and some adventure. And we talked a little bit about that and how they made their way back here to Columbia. So anyway, that in a few minutes, but let's play another song here. This is New York, New York from Ruth Acuff, Jeff Mueller on bass. It's Mike. You're listening to Open Mic Radio on KOPN Columbia, 89.5 FM. We're streaming on the web at kopn.org. And for me, you can find information at www.mikehagan.com. Click on the little button that says Open Mic Radio, and you might check out the podcast as well. All right, once again, Ruth Acuff, New York, New York.
Start spreading the news. I'm leaving today. I want to be a part of it. New York, New York. These vagabond shoes are longing to stray right to the very heart of it. New York, New York. I want to wake up in a city that doesn't sleep and find I'm queen of the hilltop of the heat. These little town blues are melting away. I'll make a brand new start of it in old New York. If I can make it there, I'll make it anywhere. It's up to you, New York, New York.
This is Blake Gardner.
And the Farmers.
And you're listening to Open Mic Radio on
KOPN 89.5 FM.
All right, that's right. It is Open Mic Radio, KOPN Columbia. About 9:15, not quite, 9:12 or so on this lovely Friday morning, June the 26th, and a lovely song there from Miss Ruth Acuff. Nice version of the classic New York, New York, with Jeff Mueller covering up on the bass there. All right, as I mentioned, I did have a chance to catch up with Ruth and Jeff just a few days ago, and I'm going to play a little conversation that I had with them right now. Before, though, let's see if I have to mention anything else. No, I think that's it. Okay, Ruth Acuff and Jeff Mueller, and a little bit about their adventure in New York City, and back here in Columbia now. Glad to have them back, and I'll be back with you all in about 30 minutes or so. And give me a buzz if you'd like during this interview. I'll have a few minutes. If you've got something going on this weekend that you'd like me to share with the audience, I know there are some streaming shows that perhaps are happening. I know, as a matter of fact, that Todd, my buddy Todd Day Waite's got something going on. I think that's either tonight or tomorrow, but I'll find out during the break here. And when we come back, I'll talk a little bit about the limited music that we have this weekend here in Columbia. But maybe you guys and girls have some stuff that you're doing on your own, some streaming shows or some live Zoom performances or something like that that you'd like to share. If you want to do that, just call me at 573-874-5676 sometime in the next 20 minutes or so, okay? All right, once again, Ruth Acuff and Jeff Mueller. It's Mike. You're listening to Open Mic Radio on KOPN Columbia.
So I will say welcome to the show. My guests today are multi-instrumentalists Ruth Acuff and Jeff Mueller, a couple of familiar names to many of the listeners of this program, but it's been quite some time since they've been with me on the show, and a lot has happened in between. So we're going to catch up with Ruth and Jeff and say hello. Hi, you two.
Hi.
Thank you for taking the time. The last time we talked on the air, the two of you were embarking on an adventure to New York City. And I guess let's start there. I mean, I'm sure some of the folks will maybe kind of be familiar with the story, but you're very familiar with people around Columbia, but you headed out of here for a little bit, and tell people why.
Yeah, we did. We packed up after living most of our lives here in Columbia, Missouri, and I'll hand it over to Jeff to explain why.
Oh, well, a few years ago, I started building a double bass, and then I attended a workshop 2 years ago, and at that workshop, I met David Gage, who owns David Gage String Instruments in Manhattan, down in Tribeca. He's been there for about 40 years. And he had me come out September of 2018 to do a bench test. And that's basically put me to work, see how I worked out, see how I like it, see how he liked it. And we agreed that I would move there and start working. So we moved out there in January of 2019 and spent all of last year and all of this year up until the shutdown working out there.
Hey, Jeff, how many other people has that gentleman that you were working for in New York been involved with over the years? Has he apprenticed with other, I don't mean that you weren't being paid, but has he worked with other young luthiers or were you one of his first?
Oh, no, he's got, I was one of five other repair people. And to be clear, I was repairing instruments that came in. I did, on my own time, I did finish up my bass while I was out there.
Which was a beautiful work, by the way. I witnessed a whole lot of it. So
Thank you. Yeah, but no, he's had several folks come through, and sometimes they'll come out of a violin school or something like that, and they'll want to learn some more practical, pay the day-to-day bills skills with repair, because there's a lot of that compared to people buying brand new instruments. Yeah, in fact, he's got someone from France who's apprenticed at a building workshop in France for the last 2 or 3 years. That's moving as soon as he can get cleared to work at the shop there to learn repair.
All right.
It's not really school per se, but he's got a very generous attitude towards people that want to learn things.
And he's one of the top guys in that field?
Definitely, yeah. Especially in the jazz scene. There's a lot of heavy-hitting jazz players that'll come in there with their instruments and hang out and work with him.
That's cool. So you did that for about a year and a half or so?
Yeah. Yep.
Who'd you run across while you were out there mentioning the heavy hitters?
Oh, well, Ron Carter.
Ruth.
He was around there. I got to meet him several times and talk with him. Christian McBride would send his instruments in, but he always had an apprentice or an assistant bring things in.
Uh-huh.
John Patitucci come in occasionally.
Oh.
Jay Leonhart.
Jay Leonhart.
I'm not familiar. Who's Jay Leonhart?
He's a pretty great jazz bassist. He's a little under the radar for most people, but he's got an awesome performance that he did that you can find most of on YouTube now called The Bass Lesson, which is just really witty songs and him playing bass solo. It's kind of like a musical comedian. And he's really great.
Nice. Ruth, when you went to New York, I understand that it was a lot of it had to do with Jeff's opportunity there. But what were you doing before you came back?
Yeah, well, I played not a ton in New York, but I did get out and play in Brooklyn and several times in Brooklyn and Queens, and was supposed to play at a college in Manhattan for Earth Day.
Oh,
that didn't happen.
Great timing.
But I was able to meet a lot of really amazing harpists. And so that was really exciting. Like Brandy Younger, Laura Sherman, who plays harp in the musical Wicked. Actually, she just moved, but she played harp with Wicked for like 15 years.
Wow.
And so I got to go backstage and see where she plays harp on Broadway in her little space set up. So that was amazing.
Uh-huh.
And I feel like I made a lot of connections out there. And the times that I did play, I guess I did a house concert out there as well. Sometimes shows run together, but I also discovered how challenging it is to move a harp in New York City.
Man.
And really, it's quite similar out there. The music scenes are very similar, actually.
Really?
Here in Columbia and in New York. Of course, you have people who have been in the scene, and you have really huge name artists. I mean, you've got artists of all levels, but even huge name artists are playing small clubs out there. And I guess I was just kind of surprised how similar it is. And a lot of the behind the scenes talk between musicians and everything like that.
Did it give you any sort of inspiration for future projects or ideas for things that you might do down the road?
Yeah, I'd say it did. It was definitely inspiring to be there.
I imagine that it also maybe gives you a little bit more confidence to actually have been there and seen, wow, it's not that much different than maybe what, where it was, where I'm from.
Yes, I definitely felt that way. Other people may have different experiences. And the harp world is small, we harpists already kind of know who each other are and stick together.
Uh-huh.
So, maybe it's different if you play guitar or something like that.
Right.
But I felt it was pretty similar for me, and, in positive ways and in negative ways. And you know, to a certain point, being a musician, it's like, well, how are you going to make a living
Right.
being a musician? And out there, it's like, well, just moving a harp is an obstacle. We played one show where I think they said it was 2.5 flights of stairs,
Oh my God.
and turned out to be a little bit more than that. And Jeff, you know, was with me, and one who did all the heavy work on that. But, you know, by the time we get the harp up there, we're huffing and puffing, and then it's like unload and get ready and play, and you're like,
Right. Just getting there to do it is a huge thing. Yeah.
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 And then, of course, like finding parking, you just never know. And if you hire someone with a harp, before I went out there, I asked some other harpists in the area just about moving their harps, and they said, don't take, you know, Uber or Lyft or a company like that, because even if you give them advance notice, they may still show up and leave you on the curb. So one
Just
harpist
drive off. Yeah.
yeah, they were like, sorry, we can take 2 other rides in the time it takes you to get your harp
Right.
in. So,
Right. Okay.
yep, that was the big challenge for me. But I will say it inspired me for the rest of the entire country, because I have traveled with my harp all over the United States, and it was way easier than New York City.
Right. Well, you can say that you've done the hardest of the hard. So at least you know what you're getting into, you know,
Yes.
wherever it is you decide to go. Did you find the level of talent there? Tell me about the talent. I'm, as you mentioned a little bit before, you said there are artists of all different skill levels, but I mean, lots more people. Is it competitive? Or is it cooperative? What's going on there?
I think it really depends what scene you're in, you know? I felt really, I guess, inspired and like, wow, people are being nice to each other. And
did they embrace you when you showed
I
them?
did feel very welcome.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, kind of one show leads to another type thing. Like you play one place and somebody says, oh, we got to have you come play over here.
Right.
You got to play a show with my band. So I felt very welcomed. And, you know, we'll probably be back out there. And I could also see how if we stayed, it could be the sort of thing where you don't know who will see you and say, hey, want to play with my band, and who that band will be.
Right.
But there's all levels of talent, and, you know, I've performed a lot. So I think that really prepared me for being in New York, because some people go out to New York to learn how to perform.
Mm.
And so it's like they're new to being in front of people on a stage. And really, you can learn that wherever you are.
That's right. Yeah, I agree. Okay, so big decision then to decide at some point. Obviously, the world changed for everybody a few months ago, and you and Jeff decided to come back here to mid-Missouri, at least for a little while. I'm not sure. Perhaps you've got plans to go back, Jeff. That'd be an interesting question if your work back in New York is still welcoming to you, if you get the opportunity to go back there. But I know it was sort of an adventure getting there, and a crazy adventure getting back. So let's. I'll let you guys tell the story, and we'll go from there.
Oh, you mean?
And by the way, I wish the listeners could see the video right now, by the way, because the facial expressions are worth more than I can convey here over the radio waves. So,
Well, I know we have built bridges there in New York City. And as far as Jeff and David Gage, well, you want to?
Well, it's we had decided back in the beginning of March that we would come back here at the end of May, regardless. My mother is getting older. My father passed away while we were out there.
Oh, Jeff, I'm sorry to hear that.
Thank you. And one of Ruth's grandparents passed away while we were out there. And my mother is getting older, and we just started to feel more like we wanted to be around family and, and be back here.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd already talked with them about, just staying through to the end of May. And then some friends, when right around the time of our anniversary, which is the middle of March, some friends of ours were, asking when we were going to get out of New York City. And all
of a sudden we had, I think you were one of them, Mike.
Yeah.
People sending me and Jeff messages. You might want to think about getting the heck out of New York City.
Yep. And by that point in time, we'd been, we'd had to walk our dogs, and it's a busy neighborhood that we lived in. And so we're, sanitizing their feet after we'd get in from walking them outside.
Right.
We're already kind of living in the paranoia anyway. And so we kind of realized, okay, I guess we're going to do this. And the next day, well, we were getting close to that. And the next day when I went into work, they announced that was the last day they were going to be open for a while because of the shutdown. And so I took some work home. I couldn't really focus very well at home.
What kind of work do you take home as a luthier?
At the apartment. Well, we had a room that we used as a recording or mixing studio, and it was a 3-bedroom apartment. And
okay, so there was some digital work. I see. Okay.
But it was physical woodworking that I did there. Anyway, regardless, it wasn't a very good arrangement, and to take a train was scary, and to drive was ridiculous. Anyway, you go like 6 miles in a half an hour. So, so it was just looking less and less, and really you had to get out of your apartment to walk the dogs anyway. And as soon as we'd step out in the street, it's like anybody could be spitting around, and started to hear sirens more often, and people seemed to be a little less, I don't know, the later at night it seemed like there were fewer people, and who were out seemed a little bit more dangerous or something.
Mm-hmm.
It became a little less welcoming, and so we got out of there. So we packed up our stuff, spent all day packing up our stuff
in the rain,
essentially in the rain. That kind of drizzle that gets you all the way
through
to your skivvies by the time you're done.
Yeah.
And then we went up the street and got gas because we had almost an empty tank of gas. And then we took off, and we got about 4 blocks, and our van died. And we had, it's been 8 hours packing the van full of every single thing that could possibly fit in there. And our dogs, are in there basically surrounded by all of our stuff. Like,
right.
They didn't,
and my harp is in there.
Jeff's got a lot of stuff that you guys have a lot of stuff that you care about, and that needs to kind of be handled relatively carefully.
Yeah, and temperature controlled to a degree with my harp,
No pun intended.
Right. So anyway, so there we break down, all of like 4 blocks away from our apartment, and we'll call around and finally find a guy who runs a shop.
New York City was shut down officially, so auto shops were closed. Nobody was answering phones.
We even called a towing place, and they're like, "No, we're not working." But this guy decided he would come and help us. He had gone home early because he had a slow day, and he's about to get in the shower, and he dropped everything, and he came and tried to get us jump started, and that didn't work. And then put a rope around the front end of our car, and we we were towed about 12 blocks in New York City. With our battery going dead from running the blinkers and the windshield wipers. And, because we were towed with a rope, I had to steer and brake.
Yeah. Oh, my God.
Through the city streets.
And
And because our battery was dying, it was getting foggy in the van. So I was just frantically wiping the windows so that we could see when to stop and when to release the brake.
yeah, it was very stressful. Very stressful.
Oh.
And, but we got in over to his garage, and he had room in his garage to just pull our van right in. So we were, satisfied that everything was secure. He locked it all up.
Yeah.
And then the next day, luckily he had space. He had another section of his business where we could unload everything out of the back of our van because the fuel pump wasn't delivering fuel.
Oh.
So it's in the middle of the floor in the back of the van, right underneath Ruth's harp, which has everything built over top. So
we unloaded everything again.
Yeah.
And we went through this huge process. It took a while, and came to discover that we had gotten bad gas from the gas station, and that's what caused it all. There were a handful of other vehicles that had also gotten bad gas, and
we saw one pulled over. Just they were pumping gas out of their tank into like a big plastic tub, and it was all
I guess
green and weird looking.
The gas tank had a crack in it, and water got in, so there's water in the gas.
Yeah.
And it was a big ordeal.
About 24 hours later, we got in our van and put a bunch of octane boost in it to get the last of the water out of it, and it ran rough and scary for the first few minutes, and then it got a little better. And then further down the highway, as we were getting closer to Missouri, we realized that the battery wasn't really holding a charge very well. So we slept that night outside a Walmart parking lot, or in a Walmart parking lot, so that we could get up at 7 in the morning and go get a new battery if we had to. But luckily it started the next morning, and we made it all the way back. It was strange. So we watched, I never intentionally watched Escape from New York before, but we watched it maybe within a week after that.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That's a great movie, by the way.
Yeah. It was,
yeah. It was fun.
Yeah. Totally a different escape, but interesting anyway.
It was pretty crazy, though, just to think, well, we never thought we would be leaving New York City because of a pandemic.
Yeah.
I mean, we planned to stay a few more months to when our lease was up for our apartment, but we were just like, we're going to be stuck in our apartment. You're not going to work. I have been doing some work online, like blog writing and stuff like that, so I was able to work, but just like, stuck in a tiny apartment. Let's go out where we can be in nature, and I think that was a good decision. Yeah,
it's been a much easier place to quarantine and, wait out the whatever we're waiting out.
I for one am very glad that you're back here in mid-Missouri. So, what have you been doing since you've been back?
Nothing.
Yeah.
Actually, I mean, we've been playing some live streams.
That was on my list here.
Yeah, we did Unearth NYC, which was supposed to be at the college in Manhattan. They moved that to a Zoom. So we did a Zoom performance for Unearth NYC. And then we did another NYC live stream called Art Flow. That was fun, live. Cool. And then we did a David Gage string instrument live stream. I haven't done any directly through my own pages yet, but maybe I will.
We did a song or two that KOMU keeps playing, which is not a live stream, but recorded in the basement here and submitted.
You got plans to record anything?
Well, we have been recording a little bit, and we were recording before coronavirus happened. We were recording tracks out in New York.
A project that you and Jeff are doing, or?
Yes. Harp harp and voice Ruth Acuff stuff, and I released one song on New Year's Day with a video, and then that was To Be Happy, and then I released
I think you gave that to me. I think I played that, yeah.
Yeah, and I released Wanderer in February with a video, which I don't know if I sent that one to you. I'll have to do that.
We'll have to play that one when I air this this piece. Yeah.
And Jeff's been working on some things on his own, and actually with some Columbia musicians.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, Jeff. I mean, I was going to ask you if you missed performing. I mean, because you had a pretty serious gig going here back in Columbia, before you left.
Yeah, totally did. I got to play some while I was out there. There's drummer Billy Sloan that I knew from here, actually, and he lives out there now. And we got together a few times, and actually had some other friends that I played with back here in Missouri that came out to visit at one point in time. But yeah, I've been, Oversight Committee is what I was most active with here.
That was my next question. If Oversight Committee was going to still be a thing, and if you had plans to record more or perform, if Rose is opening on Saturday to do a limited thing outside, so I'm sort of hoping that we can see some live music again.
Yeah, let's see how that goes. I think I need to talk to our drummer Brian Kent about Local Fest, because he was asking about us playing that. And see, with the shop back in New York, I actually could have gone back. They just started working again June 8th, and up until about June 5th, I thought maybe I was going to be going back. And then it just kind of seemed like I needed to get my life going here. That 2 more months of I was going to go back for probably 2 months. My mother's her health has got some vague, uncomfortable, vague things going on. She's in her mid-80s.
I understand.
There's just a variety of reasons why I felt like I should stay here. A lot of the same reasons why we moved back here in the first place. But anyway, so I didn't think that I would be back in time to play Local Fest from that. But now here, I'm just going to be here. So maybe you might see Oversight Committee then. Music-wise, we were talking about recording. I've been working on. We did do some recording in our original lineup. We've got a few different players now, so I am kind of trying to finalize those recordings and get those out, and we'll see what the future holds as far as that goes. Right now we're kind of like, I need to get a job now that I've decided to stay here. So, you got any good job leads, feel free to call in and let the host know here.
Okay.
And and just on with it. Get our stuff. Almost everything that we have is basically in storage in some way or another, and so we're ready to come out of that shell and into settling down again.
Well, you guys are awesome. I'm so glad you took a little time to spend with me, and I'm sure people are glad to hear from you and that you're doing well. And look forward to hearing some music from you, Ruth. We'll see what you got anything planned. I'm looking forward to hearing Oversight Committee, of course. But
well, I guess it'll be past the date, but the Jane Doe review is happening on June 20th.
Oh, that's Saturday night. Yeah.
Yes.
So other than the Jane Doe thing, what do you have planned?
Well, I guess the plan is to finish up some mixes and masters of songs that I have recorded for Ruth Acuff and to get those out. And also the Royal Furs have some things in the works. We're kind of, we've been working slowly, remotely since we moved out to New York, but we hang out every week and we send each other ideas. And so seems like that's going to keep rolling with the Royal Furs. So.
All right. I love it. That's fantastic news. So, Okay, well, thank you. And we'll be in touch. And I'm once again thrilled that you're back in town and you're both doing well and your dogs are doing well and everything's cool. So,
Yeah.
all right, you two, let's wrap it up here and we'll say goodbye. But thanks. And I hope to see you down the road here. And if you have anything that you want to share with other people, you just let me know and I'll add it to my list. Okay.
Sounds
Awesome.
good.
All right,
Thanks.
Jeff. Thanks, Ruth. Bye, you two.
Bye.
See ya.
Bye.
Is that the real buy or is that a fake buy?
That's the end of the show. Bye.
All right. It's Mike, and you're listening to Open Mic Radio on KOPN Columbia, 89.5 FM. Hope you enjoyed that conversation between myself and Miss Ruth Acuff and Mr. Jeff Mueller. Glad they're back in town, and what a wild ride they had over the last year and a half. Now, I have to clarify that there was some laughing going on during that interview, and it was purely because we were doing a Zoom interview and we were all looking at each other. And, of course, that doesn't really come across on the radio, some of that stuff, but there was some pretty funny facial and body language going on during the course of that conversation. So anyway, hope you enjoyed it, and I sure enjoyed talking with them. Let's hear one now from Miss Ruth Acuff. This one is called Wanderer. She mentioned it during the conversation. We're going to hear it right now. I'll be back with you on just a few minutes. It's Open Mic Radio on KOPN Columbia, 89.5 FM. We're streaming on the web at kopn.org, and check me out at www.mikehagan.com and click on the little button that says Open Mic Radio. Check it out.
Above the sea of fog, gazing out at the land upon
All right, it's a lovely one there from Ruth Acuff. That one is called Wanderer.
This is Preston.
Josh.
Bree.
Zach.
We are
Among
Among
the
the Mountains. And you're listening to Open Mic Radio on KOP in Columbia.
All right, it's true. Let's see. I better say this, that this program is supported in part by Pizza Tree Pizza. Pizza Tree offers pizza by the slice, specialty pies, and delivery. Pizza Tree is located at 909 Cherry Street and is open 11 a.m. to 9 p.m. every day except Monday. More information at pizzatreepizza.com or on Facebook. And I must say that it is delicious pizza. Okay, let's see. C947, 948. I got to get a couple more songs in here. This one is called Starfighter, a song that is a Jeff Mueller song. Oh, this one is features John Galbraith and Noel Feldman. Speaking of the Royal Furs, Noel plays the drums for the Furs, and this is a song called Starfighter with Jeff, John Galbraith, and Noel Feldman. All right, check this out. I've never heard it before, but we're going to hear it right now. It's Mike, and you're listening to Open Mic Radio, KOP in Columbia.
You can fight the stars, no matter who you are. Everyone is watching, they want to see just what you'll do. Still you like to try, you shake your fist up at the sky. Everyone is watching, they want to see just what you'll do. Everyone is watching, but nobody's stopping. You go running through the valleys and the mountains of your mind, and you do it all the time, saying everything's just fine. Then you crash into the corner of a dark and dirty bar. You're ashamed of who you are, another fallen star. Everything's too far. You can fight the stars, no matter who you are. Everyone's watching, they want to see just what you'll do. But still you like to try, you shake your fist up at the sky. Everyone's watching, they want to see just what you'll do. Everyone's watching, nobody's stopping you. Fight the stars, no matter who you are. Everyone is watching, they want to see just what you'll do. Everyone is watching, nobody's stopping you. 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 Nobody's stopping you.
Hell yeah. I love it. Great stuff there from Jeff and Noel and John Galbraith rocking it out on the guitar. Crazy John, man. That guy can really tear it up. Love it. Great stuff. Thank you for sharing that, Jeff. And thanks to Ruth and Jeff for spending some time with me. Thanks to all you. We've got just a minute or so left here, and I'm going to put one on to wrap things up. We'll play one from Ruth on the way out of here. In fact, I started with a song before the show that's actually called Queen Anne's Lace, but I only kind of gave you a teaser, just a few seconds of it before we got going with the program. But I'm going to play that in its entirety here on the way out the door. Come on back next week. I'm not sure who we're going to have, but we've got a few guests getting lined up here. I chatted with Violet Vandahar, and her and Phil Sean are going to be joining me sometime soon. We've still got Toaster Bath coming. We've got Dave Angle at some point. Johnny from the Hoot and Hollers and I have been chatting. We'll get him back here on the program at some point. Anyway, there are a number of other people. Relatively Balanced is a group that is going to be with us sometime soon. Anyway, we're going to keep it rolling here. If you've got something you want to share with me, please do it, and I'll be happy to try to get it out there with other people, okay? All right, check it out on the web at mikehagan.com. Click on the Open Mic Radio button, and you can subscribe to the podcast, and I'll catch y'all next week. This is Ruth Acuff and a lovely song called Queen Anne's Lace. Take care of yourselves. Be cool to other people.